and this is the episode 3 in the series of the Kashi report that we are doing, and we have brought to you the Gyanvapi legal dispute. And on this episode, I'm going to bring forth all the heritage and the legacy of the Kashi Vishwanath temple that dates back to over 2,500 years ago. The Gyanvapi legal dispute has been a topic of debate for the last 2 years due to the fast-paced developments in the courts, but there is lack of understanding on the history of the issue. Today, in an effort to make informative telecast on doing a deep dive into the Kashi Vishwanath temple and taking a look at the historical records that speak about how magnificent Kashi Vishwanath temple was at a point of time and how repeated invasions destroyed it. Let's toss straight away to the origin of Kashi Vishwanath temple as per the information that we have, and quickly taking a look at some 2,500 years ago, the origin. Lord Shiva established the Jyotirling, a sacred representation of his formless lingam. And this is how there are several of these stories, these anecdotes that talk about how Shiva brought in his wife Parvati and built the Kashi Vishwanath temple and built Varanasi. The first mention of Gyanvapi, which is Ishane form of Shiva, has himself dug the well to cool the lingam of Vishveshwara with water. This is a quote from Kashi Khand of Skand Puran, which is some 8th century old. The Kashi Khand Granth is part of the Skand Puran of the 18 major Puranas of Hinduism, and that's where the mention of Kashi Vishwanath temple appears. Who constructed it? The Kashi Vishwanath temple was constructed by a devotee. His name was King Harish Chandra. This is now after many centuries. From the 8th century, when a mention is found of the creation of Kashi Vishwanath temple, up until 1632, there is a sketch by a British artist, Peter Mundy, who drew this sketch of women pouring water on the lingam as part of their rituals performed for the god. In 1832, much later, elevation of the temple of Vishveshwar at Benner. This is again a sketch of James Prinsep, another British artist who has again given a mention of Kashi Vishwanath temple through his drawing. 1834, there is a lithograph of the original Kashi Vishwanath temple. This is by James Prinsep, and there you can actually see the grandeur of the temple before it got destroyed. And this is in Masir-e-Alamgiri, and there are excerpts, and which have been pointed out over here, in excerpts during various Mughal kings who came to rule India and Varanasi, who destroyed the temple time and again. On Thursday, the 8th April, 1669, which is 17th Zil Q, occurred a decline. There were prayers were said and alms were distributed as was the custom. The Lord Cherisher of the faith learnt that in the provinces of Tata, Multan, and especially in Banaras, the Brahmin misbelievers used to teach their false books in their established schools, and that admirers and students, both Hindu and Muslim, used to come from great distances to these misguided men in order to acquire their vile learnings. His Majesty, eager to establish Islam, issued orders to destroy the temples, to destroy the rituals, to destroy the very faith on the basis of which the preachings of the Brahmins, the preachings of the seers were disseminated across in Varanasi and to students far off who used to come to Banaras. All right, let's also take a look at excerpt number 2 Okay, so this this goes back in the history in the 17th century, in the 16th century. There had been the Mughal Sultanate that had come and destroyed the temples, and before the Mughal Sultanate, it was the Delhi Sultanate and their kings who ended up destroying the temples. Now, taking a look at another example, a number of these governors of the provinces were then hired. They were told, they were given money, they were given resources to demolish the schools and temples of these infidels. Now, the word for the priests, for the seers, for the gurukuls were being called infidels, with the utmost urgency down to the teaching and the public practice of the religion of these misbelievers. Okay, so I in fact have a lot of these excerpts which I'm going to read out in a bit, but here's a look at the Gyanvapi mosque and the current temple that is in the southern cell. This is actually the southern cell which has been opened now, allowing for preachers to pray, allowing for devotees to pray over here. It's a small hole in a wall, and that's about it. And this is the Gyanvapi mosque. And what is believed is that the Nandi that is always facing the east of where Lord Shiva resides is placed right at the cellar, and therefore the priests, the scholars are of the view that this temple in fact was actually at the origin place where the Gyanvapi mosque has been built. Taking a look at this massive structure of the temple, the original temple that had been built as a sketch, and this is a satellite image, which the total area of the old temple was 23,887 square feet. So that's how huge the temple is, and it has reduced to a small tiny hole in the wall where now people have finally started to pay their obeisances. The temple of Danapat, it's called the temple of Dandapani. The Sanctum Sanctorum, right in the middle over here, had 4 anterooms, 96 square feet. These are the ones that were marked over here in the Sanctum Sanctorum, which had the 4 corners, and these anterooms were as many as 96 square feet long. The temple also had these 8 pavilions. Each of these 8 pavilions were 4,375 square feet in area. And then there were these smaller anterooms here, and these were all 96 square feet each in area. Now there are these, on chapter 41 verse number 16 mentions Gyanvapi well, and this is in Sanskrit, but what it actually means is that there was in fact the Gyanvapi well that was present, and this is a verse that has been taken from over centuries ago, and that's how the mosque got its name as well, which is called the Gyanvapi mosque now. Chapter 52, the verse number 57 also here mentions the Gyanvapi well. Now let's take a look at the number of times there has been destruction that led to the ruin of the temple, 3 times at least. In 1034, the first time the temple was destroyed was by Ahmad Nialtigin, Mahmud Ghazni's general. And that's the image of this general who was ordered by Ghazni to demolish the temple. In 1194, the temple was again demolished by Qutubuddin Aibak. There were 300 more and more temples, including Kashi Vishwanath temple, that were brought down to ruins. And this is the image of the Kashi Vishwanath temple back in the day. In 1236, it was Razia Sultan who constructed the mosque on this site. In 1296, the Kashi Vishveshwar temple was reconstructed at Avimukteshwar south of original temple. So this is the image of the temple that has been constructed after that mosque was built. In 1447, Mahmud Shah Sharki partly destroyed the reconstructed temple as well. And this is the picture of that partially destroyed temple. In 1494, there's Sikandar Lodi. He has invaded Varanasi. He has destroyed the remains of the Kashi Vishwanath temple completely. In 1627 to 1658, it was Shah Jahan who ended up destroying 76 partly reconstructed temples. Kashi Vishwanath was one of them. In 1669, Aurangzeb ordered the demolition of the Kashi Vishwanath temple. And this is part of his order that was given to his generals to destroy the Kashi Vishwanath temple. All right. Now that we have taken a look back at the history of Kashi Vishwanath temple and also having delved into its richness, its legacy, and the origin of the temple, why is it dedicated to Lord Shiva, I'm going to start my conversation with my panelists who join me on the telecast. I have with me G.C. Tripathi. He is the former Vice Chancellor of BHU. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on the telecast. And let's start from the start, because there are many believers of many of these anecdotes in Varanasi and across the globe as well, who believe in all earnestness why, how and when did Kashi Vishwanath temple and Varanasi came into being. Because we don't have a specific century or a specific year when it can be pinpointed and said that yes, the temple was built in this era or the temple was built in that century.
Thank you, Meghadi. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, please.
At the very outset, I would like to congratulate NewsX and their team for selecting such a bright, relevant and pertinent theme for today's discussion. Actually, our generations sometimes fail to know the great history, culture and civilization of our country, on the basis of which this country remained Vishwaguru for quite a long time. We all know that Kashi is our cultural capital because, as per our belief, Kashi is the living place of Lord Vishwanath. So the history of Vishwanath temple is as old as the history and civilization of this country. I am not a student of history, but I know that this has been the tradition and practice in our culture and civilization, that man or woman who breathes his last in Kashi attains moksha in natural course.
Right.
So this temple is not only a place of worship of Lord Vishwanath. In fact, this temple demonstrates, manifests the great culture and civilization which our generations owned, and on the basis of which this country remained good for centuries together. So we should not think this Vishwanath temple as simply a place of worship. It actually explains the true meaning and sense of Sanatan Dharma.
Yes.
We all know
Absolutely
that
right. So
Lord,
yeah,
Lord created.
yeah. Stay on with
Meghaji,
me.
you want to say something?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This is not just a place of worship. Like you said, you attain nirvana over here, moksha, and that has been the magic of Kashi, and that has attracted people from across the globe who visit Kashi in large numbers, and that can never be taken away from the city. Let me get in Amit Raina Jain, who's a historian. And Amit, we were pulling out these extracts and these where we were getting to read about a number of times the temple has been demolished, destroyed under various reigns, under various kings, under various emperors. And one thing that was common was that the rulers wanted to establish Islam, and they wanted to completely destroy any evidence of Hinduism or the preachings of Hinduism or the Vedas, the Puranas, and that has been the pattern across the northern and the central Indian regions.
देखिए, आपने जो आज का चर्चा का विषय है बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है और मुझे लगता है कि अगर भारत का इतिहास लिखा जाए और उसमें से काशी बनारस के इतिहास के ऊपर लेखन ना करें तो भारत का इतिहास अधूरा रहेगा। और जैसा हमारे प्रोफेसर घीसित GEC त्रिपाठी साहब अभी बोल रहे थे कि देश की कल्चरल राजधानी बनारस काशी है, उसका कारण है कि वहां भगवान शिव का विश्वनाथ टेम्पल मौजूद है और विश्वनाथ मंदिर की मौजूदगी के प्रमाण, क्योंकि अगर इतिहास के और पुरातत्व के आधार पर हम चर्चा करें तो सबसे पहले ये समझना होगा कि इतिहास उद्धरणों के रेफरेंसेस के तौर पर ही जाना माना जाता है और पुरातत्व सिद्ध करना पड़ता है प्रमाणों के आधार पर। तो आपने बहुत महत्वपूर्ण मेरे से सवाल किया कि काशी विश्वनाथ और जो ज्ञानवापी वाला जो मुद्दा है उस पे हम कैसे प्रमाणित करें और किस किस तरह के झंझावातों के साथ, उतार चढ़ाव के साथ आज देश पूरे विश्व के सामने काशी विश्वनाथ कॉरिडोर के माध्यम से भारत सरकार के अप्रतिम सहयोग से जो भगवान शिव के भक्त हैं पूरे विश्व में, वो इसको एक गौरव के प्रतीक के रूप में देखते हैं। तो जो आपने इससे पहले ब्रीफ डिस्कशन किया था, तो मैं बताना चाहूंगा कि करीब 1100 वर्षों से लगातार बनारस जो विदेशी आक्रमणकारी है उनके हमलों का शिकार होता रहा और लगातार यहाँ पर विध्वंस भी चलता रहा और निर्माण भी चलता रहा, क्योंकि पूरे विश्व के जो भगवान शिव के भक्त थे उनका 12 यानी कि 12 शिवलिंगों में प्रथम शिवलिंग, आदि शिवलिंग काशी विश्वनाथ के अति मुक्तेश्वर नाथ इस विशेषवर शिवलिंग कहें, बाबा विश्वनाथ का शिवलिंग कहें, इसको माना जाता है, जो कि पवित्रतम शिवलिंग है पूरे हिंदुस्तान के शिवलिंगों में। और जो भारत के बाहर के आक्रमणकारी जो कि इस्लाम का परचम लहराना चाहते थे, दूसरी तरफ उनका दूसरा उद्देश्य इस्लाम के परचम को लहराने के साथ साथ ये था कि वो यहाँ पर लूटपाट करना चाहते थे और देश की समृद्धि के सबसे अधिक समृद्ध विरासत के प्रतीक मंदिर को लूट करके लेकर के जाते थे, बार बार तोड़ते थे। ऐसा अनेक बार हुआ, जैसे कि मोहम्मद गजनवी का आपने नाम लिया, मोहम्मद गोरी की भी इसके अंदर चर्चा उठती है। और लगातार वहां पर अगर सल्तनत पीरियड के बाद मुगल पीरियड की बात करें तो मुगल पीरियड के अंदर भी लगातार ऐसा हमेशा हुआ कि यहाँ पर हमारे जो आस्था के प्रतीक मंदिर है इसको तोड़ा गया। लेकिन अनेकों बार ऐसे उदाहरण इतिहास के अंदर मिलते हैं कि बार बार पुनः पुनः यहाँ पर काशी में मंदिर का पुनर्निर्माण, जीर्णोद्धार कराया जाता रहा। प्रारंभिक तौर पर अगर धार्मिक दृष्टिकोण से हम लोग चर्चा करें तो राजा हरिश्चंद्र के द्वारा इस मंदिर के पुनर्निर्माण की, जीर्णोद्धार की ईसा पूर्व 11वीं शताब्दी के अंदर ऐसा वर्णन मिलता है अगर धार्मिक दृष्टिकोण से चर्चा करें, क्योंकि हरिश्चंद्र का बनारस के साथ, काशी के साथ एक बड़ा संबंध है। उसके बाद राजा विक्रमादित्य के द्वारा भी इस मंदिर के निर्माण की बात, घटना सामने आती है। उपनिषदों में, महाभारत में इस तरह के वर्णन मिलते हैं। लेकिन 1194 में जो प्रारंभिक तौर पर मोहम्मद गोरी ने इस मंदिर को, इस नगर को लूटने के बाद छुड़वाया, उसके बाद लगातार जो जौनपुर के सरकी नवाब थे उन्होंने भी इसको तुड़वाया। बाद में अगर हम ब्रिटिश पीरियड पे आ जाएं तो ब्रिटिश पीरियड के अंदर भी जो लोकल यहाँ के मजिस्ट्रेट रहे हैं जो कि ब्रिटिश थे, उन्होंने आदेश दिया था कि इसका अधिकार हिंदुओं को दिया जाए, इस मस्जिद को यहाँ से हटा करके। लेकिन वहां पर उस समय जो शासन था, जो ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट थी, काउंसिल थी, उन्होंने इस सिफारिश को मानने से इनकार कर दिया, जो संभव नहीं हो पाया। लेकिन अगर ऐतिहासिक दृष्टि से देखते हैं तो 11वीं से 15वीं शताब्दी के कालखंड में इस मंदिर का जिक्र अनेकों स्थान पर आता है। और आपने भी इससे पूर्व कहा कि ब्रिटिश पीरियड के अंदर बहुत सारे लिथोग्राफ्स मिलते हैं और प्रिंसिप ने भी इसके लिथोग्राफ्स प्रिंट कराए हैं। और 1822 की एक किताब है 1822 की, जिसके अंदर इसका लिथोग्राफ और इस पे पूरा का पूरा चैप्टर है, ट्रेवलॉग है। एक ब्रिटिशियंस यहाँ हिंदुस्तान के अंदर घूमने के लिए आए तो उसने अपने ट्रेवलॉग के अंदर अपने पर्यटन के दस्तावेजों के अंदर यहाँ का जिक्र किया है, सारे के सारे चित्र बनाए हैं। लेकिन जो वर्तमान में मंदिर है इसका निर्माण
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Amit Jain, for joining me on the telecast, for giving us not an entire history, obviously just a bit of it. It would take us more than maybe an hour to actually describe the glory of the temple. We've been able to, summarize it and bring you a piece of what Kashi Vishwanath Temple used to be. And in this fight in the courts of the Hindu side, to be able to be allowed to build the temple again has continued for several years now, and with hope that has arisen amongst the hearts of Hindus across the globe, that there has been allowed praying at the southern cellar of the Gyanvapi Mosque. And if this could then help in bringing forth the case for the Hindu side to then allow for building of the grand temple, that is Kashi Vishwanath. Thank you all for joining me on the telecast, and thanks for watching NewsX.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.